Good afternoon, Giselle, and thank you for the kind introduction. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, allow me to greet everyone the universal greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good afternoon to everyone. His Excellency Christopher Montero, Ambassador of the Philippines to the Brunei Darussalam, Her Excellency Hajia Siti Safina Benti Haji Sani, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Finance and Economy of Brunei Darussalam. Thank you, Terima kasih, for your insightful messages. And we are very honored to have you with us today. To our guest speakers, Undersecretary Samsamin Ampatuan of the Department of Agriculture, Mr. Raul Rigondola, Chairperson and Administrator of the Special Economic Zone Authority and Freeport of Zamboanga City, Dr. Nur Takifa Haji Muhammad Saleh from the Halal and Taiban Research Center, University Islam Sultan Sarif Ali, Brunei Darussalam, Captain Zailan Muhammad Dun, Deputy Chairman, Brunei Darussalam BIMP Iaga Business Council. I would like also to acknowledge as well those who are watching and listening to us from the members of the Philippine Halal Export and Development Board, from the Departments of Agriculture, Health, Foreign Affairs, Tourism, Science and Technology, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, Mindanao Development Authority, the National Commission on Muslim Filipinos, and of course to our MSMEs and other stakeholders who are with us today. We are also joined by our important partners from the private sector, which participated during our first participation to the Brunei Halal Showcase in 2018. They will also share their experiences in doing business with the Brunei Darussalam. We welcome everyone to our webinar today on the Philippines and Brunei Darussalam, establishing partnerships for stronger trade and investment in the halal sector. This activity is part of the continuing efforts of the Philippines and Brunei Darussalam to implement key projects jointly agreed under the Memorandum of Understanding on Halal Cooperation, which was signed by the two countries in 2017. Since the signing of the said instrument, the two joint committee meetings have already been successfully conducted in August 2018 in Bandar Seri Begawan, Brunei Darussalam, and of course in July 2019 in Clark, Pampanga, Philippines. This year we are supposed to convene the third joint committee meeting in Brunei Darussalam, but we had to defer it to next year due to the current global health crisis that we are all experiencing at the moment. However, let me update everyone briefly on the activities and projects proposed by the Philippines that we are considered during the last joint committee meeting held last year in the Philippines. First, on the possible mutual recognition arrangements on halal accreditation and certification. There is already a working draft that we hope to approve soonest for subsequent conveyance to the relevant authorities in Brunei Darussalam through our respective diplomatic channels. Second, there is also an ongoing collaboration on laboratory network between the Philippines Department of Science and Technology and Brunei's Ministry of Health. However, we received an information that this proposal is not feasible at the moment because all the laboratory facilities of Brunei have been devoted to COVID testing. Although there might be a counter proposal from their end, which will be spearheaded by the private sector. And we look forward for this particular endeavor, and our Department of Science and Technology is leading this particular collaboration. Third, there was also a report from the last Joint Committee meeting regarding the liberalization of the Philippines in terms of the entry of foreign banks to operate in the country's banking system, including foreign Islamic banks, which will be facilitated by the approval of the Republic Act 11439, otherwise known as an act providing for the regulation and organization of the Islamic banks. The law took effect on September 15, 2019, after it was signed into law by President Rodrigo Roa Duterte on July 22, 2019. Fourth, we wish to convey to the banks in Brunei Darussalam that the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, our central bank, is open for Brunei's banks to enter into Philippine banking system, following the modes of entry under Republic Act number 10641, or an act allowing full entry of foreign banks in the Philippines. Fifth, we are pleased to inform you as well that we have issued preliminary regulations to implement Republic Act number 11439, or the Islamic Banking Law, which are Circular number 1069, the Licensing Framework for Islamic Banks, and Circular number 1070, the Sharia Governance Framework, both issued on December 29, 2019. Finally, we have also identified during our last joint committee meeting in Clark that we have designated the Philippine International Trading Corporation as Trade and Investment Desk, which will serve as the Philippine link to halal trade and investment related activities. By the way, I think PITC is also with us in this afternoon. Today, both governments invited relevant stakeholders from the public and private sectors to discuss strategies on how to facilitate and strengthen bilateral cooperation across the halal value chain. And of course, to promote trade and investment in the halal sectors for the two markets. This supports the strategic framework for the Philippine halal export development and promotions as enshrined in Republic Act 10817, otherwise known as the Philippine Halal Export Development and Promotion Act of 2016. And before we proceed to the meat of the discussion, I would like also to acknowledge the effort of the Export Marketing Bureau for spearheading the preparation of this activity in close coordination with the Philippine Trade and Investment Center in Singapore, covering Brunei Darussalam through Senior Trade Representative Cynthia Ricafort, and also the Philippine Embassy in Brunei Darussalam through Ambassador Christopher Montero and his team, Consul General Pete Raymond Delfin, and the rest of our colleagues there in the Philippine Embassy. Thank you also to the Philippine Trade Training Center for their unwavering support to our halal programs. I hope you will all benefit from this webinar. Thank you, Tarimak kasi banyak. Maraming salamat po. Again, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.